The important recruiting weekend in Athens continues. Georgia hosting what they're calling Fab Five official visitors. And it really was an explosive night last night in Athens for these guys. Headlining, I guess you could say headlining by Gunnar Stockton, who is Georgia's five-star quarterback commit. It wasn't just him, though. It was Denylon Morissette. He was also a commit. Kojo and Oscar Delp and Branson Robinson. Really, these guys are getting blown away right now by the facilities. This $80 million facility has been, for football, that just opened in the last month, has been a major highlight for this program. And last night, taking in what I saw regarding this these official visits, it really looks like Georgia could land all five of these guys. Two of them are already in play, and I know with Oscar, he's a guy that Georgia desperately wants. I think most people consider Branson Robinson a guy that Georgia leads for, and then with Kojo, that's still evolving, and always on visits it seems like something's better than maybe it really is, but last night, having the ability to watch that, they definitely were enjoying themselves. And the facility, the $80 million facility, is something that that's really made an impact on the kids. Here's what Mikal Williams said. He says, their facility has everything you want. It's fire. It's too much to say, but the sports medicine part was crazy. And we're going to have a lot about this on what we're hearing. While I'm recording this, I've not written it yet, but it's going to focus on the reaction of the recruits to the $80 million facility. And when you start talking about $80 million, that's a lot of scratch for sure. And it's making the impact you would hope an $80 million facility would. Already, the players in the program really have been wowed by it, but now you're seeing the effects of recruiting. I mean, Georgia is not behind by much in terms of a lot, but this probably puts them at the front of the pack, if not at the front completely, in terms of the ability to recruit. But, with someone like Gunnar, Gunnar Stockton's got a lot invested in this weekend. This is an important weekend for him because as a five-star quarterback, you want as many good players as you can get to play with you. And listen, the names that I just read off, you got Kojo, Oscar Delp, Branson Robinson from Mississippi, Denylon Morissette. Those guys, Kojo I think is the one that you're working on the most. Maybe Oscar. But to see the reaction of the guys while they were doing their photo shoot and the eerie red lights, that's something that it's hard to really put into perspective how good a job that Kirby and them do. This is all coming from Kirby's view of the world that they had to make some changes at the stadium in order to make it easier to recruit on game day and then days like nights like last night, Friday night. So, they spent $60 million on a recruiting pavilion that's underneath the west end zone at Georgia. I think it's west end zone. It's the bridge end zone. And then you're talking about $80 million for a facility at the football facility that's brand new. Georgia spent over $170 million total, including those two projects and some more, that it's showing up now for sure. It's really been an amazing transformation that most people just don't see, because with the exception of if you were at the Notre Dame game or like some other games, you've not seen it live, those lights really matter. And it's not the flashing lights or whatever that they do during the game, which is really worth the price of admission, just that 2 to 4 minute show. It's the night before that's very interesting, and the night of recruiting when you can see the stadium in this really eerie red glow. It is creepy, but like in a really cool way. And the recruits wouldn't stop talking about it. I mean, they would not stop talking about how crazy it was. And you know, these 5 guys are there, I think, for a reason. These are all offensive guys. Only 2 of them are committed. I mean, Kojo, they've made up ground. We think with Kojo. I think with Oscar Delp, they've always been in good position. They maybe haven't always been firmly at the front, but I think they are in really good shape now. And then with Branson Robinson, who he's from Mississippi, so it's harder to tell. That's a guy that I think most people view that Georgia is in the lead. If this is your core offensive group, you're really doing pretty well, because when you look at the board and you added 3 top 100 linemen last year's class, the guys that are on campus now, you're starting to this is how you form an offense. And this is an important weekend. We're going to have a lot more on Dog Post and what we're hearing coming up on Sunday. I will try to link it in here below in the next 24 hours. But just the biggest thing is to make sure to go over the site, because so this is just these 5 guys that we're talking about. There's a lot more than that. I do appreciate everybody who's signing up, because there's been a lot of people who have signed up. We just had our biggest May that we've ever had at Dog Post in terms of traffic, and it's due in no little part to people like y'all who are watching. So we appreciate y'all watching, but make sure, because you're missing out on really the best value of Dog Post. But I gotta tell you, if you're not going to the site, but I gotta tell you, I mean, it's tricky with official visits, because guys are always super excited to be there. But Oscar Delp's reaction at Georgia was not the same as his reaction when he was at Clemson. It didn't look like to me. So there are things that you can, add up and so forth. For Gunner, I mean, again, a big weekend. And the other thing to consider here, this is their official visit. They can't come back for officials in the fall to Georgia. So they really pushed all their chips into the middle, Kirby and Georgia, to get these 5 for this weekend. The first weekend you could do it, they got these guys. That should tell you how important this group is to them. And you can tell from their reaction just how important their weekend visit has been to Georgia. You don't just get the university, you get Athens too. And that's another part to remember, is some of these other places, whereas the football programs may, be better like Alabama, or compare like, I really don't know. But none of them have Athens. So, I mean, Tuscaloosa is not Athens, period. Gainesville, Columbus, it's cold in Columbus. Clemson is, I mean, that's not much there. So you get Athens too, and that's the part that they're selling as well. And I mean, it was a big night for those 5 guys. We'll see. I mean, will Georgia sweep all 5 of these guys? You'll have to stay tuned to Dog Post to find out more and when it happens. We'll see you over on the website.